I guess the way it started is I was working with parents who had lost their children, doing court-ordered parenting groups for the Department of Children and Family Services. And I realized very quickly that you really had to have some skills to work with that population. Most recently, in the past year that we've implemented, is a program called the Alternatives to Detention Program. And that program, I think probably Bo and I are most proud of, because for a really long time in the 16th, when a youth would get arrested, if they were not detained, they would sit around and wait for their court date. No assessments, no intervention, no monitoring, no support. And for a lot of kids, they would just say, what the heck, I'm in trouble anyway. And so the last thing you'd want is for a kid to get subsequent more charges. But with, many times what would happen is during that period, whatever was going on continued, and they'd accrue more charges. So this program, and Bo was very instrumental in getting this program off the ground. We met with the police departments and the sheriff's departments and basically said, why don't we start a new system where when kids get arrested that the citations come directly to an assessment center, and then we get the citations, and we invite the parent, the youth, and the child and the parent to come in, and we do assessments, and we place them in services. They get monitoring and support. They start their community service. And basically what we're trying to do, with kids, you don't want something to happen and it to become their life for a long period of time, because when they're developing, that's very detrimental. So by having them to get a lot of it done, then when they go to court, they can show a lot of good faith. I mean, if it's a serious crime, they're still going to have consequences, but everything that they've done prior to coming to court is taken into consideration. And at disposition, they get fewer conditions at disposition, or in some cases even they reduce the charge. You want productive citizens. Putting people in jail where they're around a lot of really antisocial people from big cities, and then having them come back into small communities, where they've learned to be more antisocial, is just not, it's not what you want for the youth in your community. So, that's been something we've been really proud of in the last couple of years, that we've been able to set up this process for kids that commit serious crimes. Most families, believe it or not, the people that we asked, did you feel like you benefited and do you feel like your child benefited, many of those families, when they first came in, were very resistant. And when 75% of the people that you work with come in and, really, it's because there is a legal issue, they're feeling kind of forced to have to do these things, but by the time the whole thing's over with, in 75% of the cases, they say, I wouldn't have chosen this, but I'm willing to say that I benefited from it. So I think that's a really positive thing. And even these kids, who in some cases come in kicking and screaming that they really don't want to be involved, or acknowledging that they benefited and that they did learn something from the process.